In an age of blockbusters, audiences were gripped by fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the obscure. Until one man showed them there was nothing to fear. Cinephobia.
Welcome, kiddies, to another episode of the Cinephobia podcast, your home for all things cinema and scary. I'm your host, Jermey Ashley. It's been a long hiatus, but we're back with our corniest episode yet.
What is all this shit about the corn?
Yes, you read the title of the episode right. We're ranking all 11 of the Children of the Corn movies. A daunting and painful task, which all three of my guests today and myself managed to marathon together over the course of these past couple months. Speaking of guests, we have two newcomers on the cast today, starting with Jordan Campbell, screenwriter and actor. The latest script of his that was produced is a romantic comedy vertical series titled Blind Date with My Boss on the Dream Shorts app. First 8 episodes are free, folks. He has a horror comedy vertical series in pre-production. His favorite horror movie is Friday the 13th, Part 2. Thanks for being on the cast today, Jordan.
Thanks for having me. Big fan.
All right, next we have up is Carl Colbath, freelance writer and co-owner of RIP Publishing. His debut fantasy novel that he has co-authored, Born of Fire, The Phoenix, was released in fall 2024 as hardcover, paperback, and ebook on platforms such as Amazon, Kindle, and their own website, bornoffireseries.com. With the sequel, Born of Fire, The Frost, currently in its first draft. You can follow them on TikTok at Born of Fire Book Series and on IG with the same name. What's your favorite horror movie, Carl?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Excellent choice. Can't go wrong with the little Freddy. And last but not least, returning for his second time on the show, writer, actor, and the biggest Halloween fan this side of the Mississippi, Havon Baraka has starred in such primetime network television shows as Abbott Elementary, The Equalizer, and Station 19. You can also catch him in my debut feature film, Meat Hook, as one of the lead characters, which coincidentally happens to be a podcaster. You can find Meat Hook on Amazon Prime for rent or buy. You can also find us on the YouTube channels Kings of Horror and Shocks and Docs. We're also going to be hitting Tubi soon, so keep a lookout for us on there. Meat Hook is released by Terror Films, the same company behind the popular Hell House series. And just in case you couldn't tell from the introduction, Havon's favorite horror movie is Halloween. Thanks for being back on the show today, Vaughn.
No, thank you for having me. For the people that are listening, yes, huge Halloween fan. I just got my second modern day Dr. Loomis coat. I bought a second one in case the first one ever goes missing.
Wow. Watch out, folks. If you see a guy with the Loomis coat running around Los Angeles, you could probably safely assume it's going to be Vaughn.
Those guys friends of yours?
No way.
Now that we got all the introductions out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this ranking, shall we?
Outlander!
Now we're going to start with our number 11 choice. Our least favorite. We're doing boards here too, so if you guys hear like pen scratching, that's what you're hearing right there.
What we're doing is we write down the name of the movie at the certain number, and then we hide it from each other, and then we do a 3, 2, 1, we reveal it, and then we each explain why that specific film is that position. And we keep a point system since there are 11 films. Place 11 would be 1 point, place 10 would be 2 points, and so forth. And then we figure out, tally up all the points, and see which together figure out like what was the best one amongst the 4.
It's serious. We got a whole little system in place for this. And we actually did rankings before on some other film series, but this is the first one we're doing on the podcast.
Yeah, got the idea from Wrestle Talk. Just plugging them real quick. They're awesome.
Wrestle Talk, was that like a...
They do wrestling things, but they do it with wrestling things. And obviously I wanted to try it for my birthday, and Carl and Jordan were so great to do that. And so it's just addicting now.
We got to keep it going. Hopefully we find a better series next time, though. This was a little tough.
Impossible.
Please. All right, so without further ado, we're all going to reveal our number 11 choice. I'm going to read out the titles, and then we're going to go one by one about what we thought of the film, why we think it's in that ranking, and we're going to start off with Carl. So let's go right on ahead and reveal our number 11 choice, our least favorite Children of the Corn film. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Behold.
Oh!
Wow. Very interesting.
No
okay.
way.
So I'm looking at Carl's number 11. That's going to be Revelation is his. I'm looking at Jordan's board right now, and it's Children of the Corn 2020. Glaring over at Havon's, we got Revelations as well. Is it Revelation or Revelations?
I'm going to put Revelation.
It's such a forgettable fucking film that who remembers?
How
And
dare.
then my number 11, Genesis. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about why we put him in this ranking.
Upon finishing this movie, I had the revelation it should never existed.
Damn right.
We'll start with the setting. Kind of went an urban route with the apartment complex, but they had to have corn, so they put a cornfield around it. Awful. Terrible start. Another thing I didn't like about it was it did lack many, if any, compelling characters. I didn't find myself really rooting or caring for him in particular. I mean, just to point out, my two favorite characters were probably Tiffany with the bathtub scene. So if a stripper and then an old guy in a wheelchair shouting obscenities are your two favorite characters, that's why you're number 11.
This is the movie for you.
Exactly.
Those are the characters I related the most to in this entire series. So
That's my point. But so the main character, I mean, Jamie, Detective Armbruster didn't do it for me. They're dynamic. They're kind of love triangle-ish. Didn't do it for me. And then also, like, the ones that I liked in this series were usually due to the preachers or the kids. And I mean, they gave us 2 ghost kids that were more annoying than anything else. They didn't really add anything to the movie. I felt the writing plot was lazy at best. They also kind of fell weak on some of the other characters. Like, there was a Rambo-like character. I think his name was Stan, who was like fully locked and loaded with the bulletproof vest, the guns, the ammo. He's going to go out shooting. And I was like, oh, like, this would be interesting, having this guy shoot out with a bunch of ghost children. And instead, they scared him into a heart attack and never took a shot.
it's called subverting expectations.
For the worst. I mean, I applaud they took an attempt at an original take this far along into the series, but for me itself, it just built upon a weak foundation of one-dimensional characters, weak writing. So for me, fell to the bottom. Solid number 11.
Solid number 11. Good choice. So next up, Jordan, why did you pick Children of the Corn 2020 as your least
Well, I'll
favorite?
start off with a few positives. 1, the color grading is really good. 2, the poster is actually kind of sick. It shows a scarecrow. It kind of looks like Freddy Krueger from Part 2 when he's stretching out his arms and he says, "You're all my children now." That's it. That's the positives. For the negatives, I love the idea of the cult leader being a girl, but she was like too girl bossy. She was more effective whenever she was like silent and had that quiet confidence, but they rarely had her do that. And she wasn't like preaching at all. Like, that's a big thing about these Children of the Corn leaders. They need to preach. They need to be throwing Bible verses at you. She didn't do that really. She was just being a girl boss. And then what really got me was at the end, they make her seem like such a badass. But the protagonist, they do that thing that protagonists in movies do when they're stuck in a corner, and they do that thing where they say, "Just let me have one more cigarette before I go." And the girl boss cult leader says, "Fine, have your cigarette." And that cigarette is what she uses to like win the day. And I was like, dude, you ruined it all. Any aura this girl boss had just went out the window. So there was that. The lead actress, she was a fine actress, but they didn't have her do anything beyond looking, horrified the whole time. And the biggest letdown for me is, well, I'll say this is the positive. There is a, spoilers, corn monster here made up of like corn stalks, and it's fucking badass. Why are you laughing? It's badass.
I'm laughing because I actually agree with you on this.
I cannot believe that's a positive.
Dude, legit, after the shit we've seen, that shit was cool. Now, they didn't use the corn monster effective. It went like a little bitch. One little, shank to the cheek, and that was it. Come on, bro. So, yeah, 2020. I think this is a Shudder exclusive, so the budget was fine, but overall, we could do better, folks.
Absolutely. Good assessment. Now, Vaughn, you share the same one as Carl.
Yeah.
What do you have to add to this?
So Carl made a lot of great points, and it's actually to piggyback off of him. I'm realizing that he's recalling things in the film that I'm like, I remember that, and I'm like, I didn't process it though. Well, the only thing I didn't process was like the history behind it, because I was like, this is how boring this thing was. Like all like the twists and turns. I was so not invested. Michael Ironside's in it, and they don't utilize him. it's like a waste of talent. Now the lead actress, I feel bad for her because I'm like, yo, you're giving this effort, and she didn't have to. But no, to piggyback off of Carl, the kids were whack. The leader was whack. I same thing as Carl. I don't think he speaks, but I didn't want him to. So it was a lose-lose. And you know, you got the twins who are like making faces that like I can't believe the director allowed them to make. Because I'm like, the girl was doing a thing actually. The girl, she was just like, all right, I'm gonna just stare at you mysteriously.
The little ghost girl.
Yeah. But the kid, the boy, like I'm like, why is he making all these? It makes it seem more like it's pouting and more like, grr, you know, I'm mad at you that you didn't get me that candy at the zoo. I didn't care about the romance. It came out of nowhere. It felt like they found a building and they're like, we got to make just this building work. The death scene in the bathtub where the cornstalk fucks up the girl.
Hey, I was okay with that.
It was all just, I was like, yo, what is happening? The only, like y'all said, like the only person that was memorable was Wheelchair Man.
Yeah, he was great.
That's it.
I don't think he has a name on the credits.
That is wild.
I got the IMDb right here. Let's see.
His name should be a fucking hero, because that character
Damn straight.
inspired me. My life changed after seeing that
Is it
character.
Cranky Man?
It's, oh wow, it's Cranky Man.
It very well could be Cranky Man.
Wow, that's, you know what, I'm not gonna lie.
Cranky Man's got an awesome filmography, though. Dude's been in Disturbing Behavior, Reindeer Games, Watchmen, Capote.
Hats off to him.
He actually, this isn't even a joke. This is like 20% joke, 80% dead ass serious. He should have lived. It actually would have made the film strangely better.
They should have made him the main character.
He's just pissed, like he doesn't even acknowledge that they're ghosts. They're just kids that are pissing him off. That's how he lives.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly.
I was going to say a Gran Turismo version, old man versus the kids.
Love it.
I would watch that in a fucking heartbeat.
He's like, I don't give a shit about he who walks behind the get off my lawn. But no, that's why it was all those things combined. That is the one I would want to watch the least. It was probably one of the shorter ones, and it felt like it was 3 hours.
Yeah, a lot of the end ones were all like a solid 80 to 89 minutes.
Yeah.
That one, an hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why that one's my last one.
I think we called it a night after that one. We were probably all pretty just depressed.
Yes.
We're like, we'll pick this up later.
Now, can we get out of here, please?
Yeah, just bad filmmaking. I feel bad. The one saving grace for me the two saving graces was Cranky Man and the lead actress's acting.
Those are literally the only two good things about the film. All right, well, my number 11 was Genesis, and I seem to be the only one that thinks this is the worst one, but let me explain my rationale behind this. So, one thing, barely any corn and one child. It's children of the corn, plural, yet we only get a singular child, and he's in a shed for most of the movie. So points off for lack of children and lack of corn, which is right in the title. So if you miss out on those two, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. It doesn't really feel like a Children of the Corn movie. This kind of feels like one of those Hellraiser movies where they just took a script and they just retailored it for a franchise. I don't know if that's the case here, but it certainly fucking felt like it. It plays more like a domestic thriller with some paranormal elements than it does a Children of the Corn film, since we're with this couple who takes refuge with this older guy and his girlfriend, wife, I don't fucking remember. But we kind of follow them throughout the whole thing as they're roaming around this property in this house. And it just doesn't really feel like a Children of the Corn movie. It feels like a more self-contained domestic thriller. I will give points, though, for the absurd cop flying into space part of it, which is probably the best element of the film.
Such a crazy sentence that it's true.
For a Children of the Corn movie, too. I like the part where the cop flew into space.
And then landed.
And landed at the very end. We got that. It was like a post-credit scene, too.
Yeah, if not, it was close, yeah.
0.7 seconds after the credits start, it cuts back to a cut scene of that cop that they geniusly set up. It's kind of a shame that the filmmakers of the 10th Children of the Corn movie had this idea, because it's an awesome idea, where they send a cop up in space, you forget about it because you're so caught up in all the other bullshit.
Yeah.
And when it happens, you're like, oh! And you realize that was the one cool thing about the movie.
I was wondering what happened to the cop. Is he just floating around in space? Is there like a jet passing by him and a kid's looking out the window and he's just kind of floating out there?
At least they gave you answers.
At least we got answers to the most pressing question in Children of the Corn Genesis. Now, when I was looking through these, I was also on Letterboxd and checking out other people's reviews for them. So I do have a couple that I pulled specifically for the podcast to mention, which I thought were really telling about the film. Rosalind from Letterboxd said in her 1.5 star review, "I like when the cop went to space." Me too, Rosalind. Me too. My favorite part as well. Another review, this one from Spooky Spector on Letterboxd. This one's a 1/2 star review. Ouch. "I'd like to formally apologize for all my half-rated movies before this. I don't know what true movie hell looked like until I got here." True movie hell.
Jesus.
I don't know any other way to sum up Children of the Corn Genesis than that. So shout out to our reviewers over there on Letterboxd.
But hey, give it a shot.
Give it a shot. If you're a completionist, feel free to go ahead and subject yourself to this Clockwork Orange-esque level of torture.
What I love about reading reviews of some of the Children of the Corn movies is some of the reviews are 3 simple words: not enough corn.
Yeah.
And it's true, because like sometimes you watch an action movie for the thrill of the action. You watch a rom-com to fall in love again. And sometimes you just want to look at corn.
What is all this shit about the corn?
And these movies is probably the only franchise.
He's from Indiana. He likes corn.
I
There
grew
we
up
go.
on corn farms. I'm corn-fed and inbred, you know. These movies mean something to me.
I almost said I'm envious, but then you finished the sentence. I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, I was going to grow up on a farm, but then you finished the sentence. I was like, well, never mind.
Good thing you didn't jump in too early there. All right, so we did our number 11. Are we ready to move on to number 10?
Ready when you guys are.
Number 10 it is. Okay. Second worst favorite Children of the Corn movie. All right, on the count of 3, we're flipping boards. 1, 2, 3.
Behold.
Jordan, me and Jordan got the same one. Nice. Okay, Genesis. I like the fact that you got that solo. Okay, so Carl's number 10 is Children of the Corn 666. And then Jordan, which one you got there? You got Runaway,
Yeah,
same
y'all
as
can
me.
shake hands.
Very
Or
nice.
high five or air high five.
Come on, let's go. Boom.
Knuckle touch.
Big fist bump for that. And then number 10, Vaughn's is Genesis. That was my number 11. All right, so we can do Carl first.
All right, I'll kick this one off too. So this is maybe a hot take for if there are any purists.
Oh,
Children of the Corn?
I think I know what he's about to say.
I was so tired watching this movie.
Okay, never mind. I thought it was going to be worse.
Isaac's Return, I'm like, he's probably my 3rd favorite preacher kid. And I was like, okay, like this is great. And then I was like, but at what cost? I got tired, lethargic, just trying to watch it and follow it. I felt like they came with like 5, 6, 7 cool ideas instead of just being, okay, which 2 to 3 do you want to streamline into an A, B, C, storyline, plot line and go through? They're like, let's just do a little bit of everything. And a lot of stuff felt rushed, unfinished, forgotten, just didn't do well. But I will say the high point of this film was definitely Franklin reprising his role. Like, he did great, which helped his character, but at the same time, it just kind of showed how poor the other actors were. Like I said, as far as the storylines go, being finished, unfinished, kind of cutting all around, I felt the pacing was off a lot. I think Hannah is still driving somewhere. I don't know where, but if I ever see her, I'm going to cut her brakes.
Jesus Christ. Gatlin, what do they have, a monopoly on roads?
The story begins with the main character, Hannah. She's searching for answers from her birth mother, which puts her back in Gatlin, which that's a cool premise. But as far as her driving places, she crashes to a cornfield, then she goes to a hospital, and this is where we find out that although we thought Isaac was dead, he's actually in a coma and he's coming back from the coma. And then she leaves and gets driven off the road again, this time by a mysterious truck. So we already have 2 accidents. I don't even know how far into the movie we are. Something else that was pretty cool, I did like the parallel storylines where you have Hannah searching for answers from her mother, and then you have Isaac find out he's a son and wanting him to reprise his legacy as leader of the cult. That should have been the movie. It wasn't, which is why it's so low. I also did like what they did with Isaac's character. It was fun because in the first movie, you couldn't quite tell, is he legit? Is he not legit? Does he know he's not legit? Does he believe what he's saying? You're kind of like, you clearly couldn't tell. And now making him like a false prophet, that really wasn't done, I don't think, in this series, where a prophet is knowingly being a false prophet, trying to, get where he wants. This kind of made him more of the bad guy than even he walks behind the rose, which I thought that was interesting idea. And then I kind of like talk about other storylines. The whole Gabriel character, I thought it felt forced. The sex scene felt forced with him and Hannah, which obviously was just put so she could be impregnated by his seed, which he mentions towards the end of the movie. And it kind of added another to the Corn movie with pregnancy implications, which to me just kept being a rehashed plot line throughout the rest of the movies. I would have cut Gabriel's character, probably would have just made Matt, Isaac's son, kind of that character, and just make it a little interesting with, Hannah, who was prophesized to return. Maybe she is the chosen one and should take over. Matt's not, but his father wants him to be. So that would be a cool dynamic. So I really just wish they stuck within that constraint of the storylines. I did like Matt's suicide by the Sith, I believe it's pronounced, or Scythe, however you guys want to say it. Yeah. That was cool. But really, overall, despite Isaac's return, to me, this movie has minimal to no rewatchable value, which is kind of what I was focused a lot of my rankings on. How often was I looking at my phone, or did I want to look at my phone? And then would I want to sit down by myself and watch this movie again? This was a tiring experience, and solid number 10.
Very great assessment. Very good, well thought out.
It's all very
detailed
a lot of it's
assessment.
very fair. I don't agree,
but it's fair.
but it's fair. It's very fair.
I'll take it.
I don't think I could beat that in court.
It's going to be hard to defend that. So we share a number 10 here, Jordan. You got Runaway, same as me. What is your rationale for why it is the second worst Children of the Corn movie?
Answer me that, buddy.
Well, I'll say this. In a way, I do admire this movie because it's kind of like a mumblecore version of a Children of the Corn movie. It's very stripped down, low budget. And I love those mumblecore movies, the Joe Swanberg, early Duplass Brothers, Greta Gerwig movies when she first started off. Very minimal. And I think it's admirable that Children of the Corn decided to go that route. But at the same time, I also think it's kind of sad. And they didn't do anything interesting with it. The premise is a former child of the Corn. She's now out of that. She's an adult now. And she's trying to live her life. And she has a son, but the actor looks old enough to be her brother. So I was very confused by their dynamic. So that was off. But yeah, they just don't do anything interesting with it. And the one good thing they had going for it was, I'm going to look up his name real quick, the mechanic that she worked for.
Carl. His name was Carl.
I have in
His
my
name was
notes-
Carl. Lynn Andrews III. I got it up here right
I
now.
will remember that name.
It's Carl? In my notes, why do I have it as Rally? I say Kevin Harvey as Rally. But okay, so
And you like this character?
I love this character up until a certain point. So they were having a fling, right? And I don't like when movies do this. When two characters are getting along, bromance movies do this a lot. They're getting along, and all of a sudden they start fighting. I'm like, what are we doing? We're having such a good time. They're about ready to fuck and shit. Let them have love. And the reason for them not getting along made no sense, and it ruined it for me. So I didn't like that. And there's not a whole lot of corn in it. And that did not make me very happy. There was one girl, scary girl, yellow dress girl, but it was they kept having doing cartwheels and shit, and that doesn't scare me. So, have her preach to me, preach some Bible verses, that'd scare the fuck out of me. So, yeah, that is my rationale for why it's second worst.
Very good assessment. Which one was yours again? You got
Mine was-
Genesis.
I had Genesis.
Oh my God! Did you like the cop flying into space part?
No, I did
You
not.
didn't like it?
Thank you for asking.
Neither
No.
did I, actually.
Really?
That was a negative point for my too.
That was the saving grace for me. But okay, let's hear.
That was an answer I did not need about what happened to the cop. The ending was just with the whole the kid has powers. Well, how are you containing this child with these psychic powers? Well, we put him in a barn and we put a padlock on it. And I'm like, what? He can flip a car, but he can't turn a lock.
Good point.
He's like, my powers are a little inconsistent, Vaughn. I thought the beginning was engaging. There is a part in the film where the couple that show up, they show up at a house, and the house is run by this old guy and his peculiarly, suspiciously a lot younger wife, who is ogling and eyeing up the male lead. They go in another room, and she's just so forward, and she just kind of goes to town. Well, she trying to goes for it, and then we're away from them for just enough long time, and they both leave at the same time. It's we don't know, did he fuck her or not?
That's the answer
I
her
did.
mom wanted.
I was
Not the
actually,
cop.
I was like, did he do it? And I was like, but it becomes a catalyst of other things. And I was like, okay, I'm in this. And the acting isn't bad. It's pretty good, I'd say.
Just to interject, what was it? Billy Drago was a great performance.
Billy Drago.
I actually wish that he was part of lore somehow. Like, I don't know how they would have done it, but like something involving that. Like, I was like, no, there's something you can do with this. I wouldn't know what, even if I was writing it without forcing other things. But yeah, I do agree. He was good in it. Like I said, the other three actors, like, no one did anything wrong, but then it does drag. Then you feel the like, oh, they have a limited budget. But maybe they don't because we're flipping cars. So I'm like, we could have gone other places. And just the last 5 to 10 minutes, I'm like, this is really bad. Like they said, there's no corn. There's only one child who's not even present most of the time. The kid ain't there. How are you going to call it Children of the Corn? It should be called Of the. That's it. Like, it's like, oh, did you see the film Of the? It's okay.
I was thinking Child of the Desert.
That we barely see still. Yeah. So yeah, it was that one. It felt like a long short film. That's how I described it when we were watching.
And not a very good one either.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's why it was at my number 10. The only reason it was above Revelation is that there was more good acting. Billy Drago or Drago, I don't know, my fault how to pronounce it. But those were the two reasons that bumped it up that it wasn't at 11.
You're going to look me in the eyes right now and tell me you enjoyed Billy Drago more than Cranky Man?
Now that you put it that way, I'll say they cancel each other. I think Cranky Man is equal to Billy Drago and maybe two of the other actors. So we still have, it's still up. I feel like it's like a Full House versus like, like a Three of a Kind. It's like we barely won.
Pretty fucking close. I will agree that Drago kind of elevates it to a level better than a Children of the Corn movie usually is. You guys remember Billy Drago probably best from The Untouchables. He was one of the bad guys in that one. One person that we forgot to mention who was in Genesis as well, Dwayne Whitaker. Dwayne Whitaker plays like a cop, or is he like a tow truck driver? One of the two. Dwayne Whitaker, you guys probably know best from Pulp Fiction. Going back to my number 10 choice, Children of the Corn, Runaway. Now, me and Jordan, we share this pick as well. This one was directed by John Gallagher, who you guys might know best from making the Feast films, or at least he made the first one. He also did Piranha 3DD. I know him best from... Great title. I know him best from Project Greenlight, that Ben Affleck TV series where they had filmmakers make a movie and they followed him around. This was for the making of Feast. If you guys haven't seen that series or seen that season, it's a really great insight to movie making and all the drama and everything comes along with it. So going back to the film itself, one saving grace that Runaway does have is that since John Gallagher is directing it, we get a nice little surprise appearance from Clue Gallagher, who is John's dad. He was in a diner, I think, for a couple of scenes. Didn't do a whole lot, but again, anything which elevates a Children of the Corn movie above the usual garbage, I am here for.
Clue Gallagher is Krusty.
As Krusty. Oh, yeah, his character's name is Krusty. Very fitting. Very fitting. I will agree with Jordan that the lead actress, character's name Ruth, actress's name is Marcy Miller. She is probably the best part of the film. She really holds it up, elevates it. So that was good. But at the same time, the reason why I rank it as a number 10 is the little girl, our leader character. First off, she doesn't even have a name. They just call her Pretty Girl.
Which is weird.
Which is weird, because why don't you just give her a name? Like everybody else has a name. Like just open the Bible, close your eyes, point, pick a name, boom, you're good to go. So, and honestly, aside from the lead actress's acting and a few little things, I don't remember much about this movie. So I can't really go into too much detail about what I didn't like, other than the fact that it's just another very low tier Children of the Corn film that's lacking a lot of the good elements which make a good Children of the Corn film, namely some really scary children and lots of corn.
What is all this shit about the corn?
I don't remember there being a whole lot of corn in this one, but at least we did have some children. So this one I would never, ever watch again unless I was forced to. So anybody out there who's thinking of doing the Children of the Corn movies, I would definitely suggest skipping over Children of the Corn Runaway.
I will say that lead actress is great. I wish her the best. And John
Yeah.
Gallagher. Include Gallagher.
Yeah, absolutely. So it had a couple good elements. They tried, but very forgettable film overall. So my number 10, once again, Children of the Corn, Runaway. Now, let's go to number 9. Which one is our number 9 choice? Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Behold.
Oh, all across the board on this one. No, oh wow.
Oh,
Fun.
yes.
Very
Yes.
disappointed.
Y'all knew while we were watching it.
Okay. Well, I still need to hear this rationale behind it. So Carl's number 9, Runaway, we just talked about a little bit. Jordan's number 9 is 666, Isaac's Revenge. And very surprisingly, to my shock, Vaughn's number 9, Children of the Corn Part 3, Urban Harvest.
Why?
Wow, I got to hear this. But before we get to Vaughn,
That was back when they still had a budget, I think.
Literally, yeah.
I'm really interested to hear why Vaughn doesn't like this one. But before we get to Vaughn, let's start off with Carl. Now, Carl, you picked Runaway. Why did you pick Runaway from your number 9?
So, I mean, you guys have both kind of touched on it already, but I mean, there were some strong points that put it ahead of the other two on my list. And like you guys both said, it was a good character-driven story. I thought, like, and this is kind of where I started to realize a lot of these movies, they have really good ideas. Like, if you peel it all back, you're like, oh, if you would have pitched to me this idea, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. And then I just don't know what they do afterwards. So, I mean, you have Ruth. She's haunted by her cult past. She escaped pregnant with her child. And she wanted to, you know, raise him away from that kind of, I guess, cult life. And, I mean, one thing is he's 13 now. And she, in 13 years, she got to Oklahoma, 2 states away. I'm like, you could have gone a lot further from Nebraska than Oklahoma.
My man looked up in the distance.
So I don't know, but I was like, okay, 13 years, 2 states over. Like, I probably would have got a little bit further. Yeah. Canada maybe. But so like her relationship and dynamic, the way it was portrayed acting wise through the script, I thought it was genuine. And they did have some cool psychological horror elements, you know, the hallucinations and stuff. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, that I was good with. But, you know, once again, which to me is a running theme for a lot of these lower end Children of the Corn movies, was the pacing. There was what felt like a short film idea, but we got to stretch to 85 minutes. What are we going to do? We're going to have her wander the town. We're going to have her do mundane jobs. Make her a mechanic. Why not? That's fun. You know, and...
Got to fill that runtime.
And then also, like, I mean, the editing, I mean, I'm not an editor, but I felt like some of the cuts were kind of jarring. What was one of the strong points earlier on was the dynamic with her and the mechanic shop owner. And then it kind of fell off and there was no real payoff there. And he was even an interesting character because, like, there were some things when you met him, like he had a limp. That's interesting. I don't know if you guys noticed he had a ring on his necklace. Like, that's interesting. And that was it. Just kind of gets killed. Which brings us to my next issue. So I'm under the impression the little girl is the main character as a child. And, yeah, the little girl is what we see killing people. But at the end, it's revealed it's her.
Right.
But the characters are not like, oh, why are you trying to kill me? They're like, acting like, I don't know who you are. Why is this little girl trying to kill me?
Good point.
But it's supposed to be Ruth. So I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And that's what really kind of, you know, hurt the film for me.
That's fair.
Adding on to that was kind of the reveal of Sarah, the diner worker, who was like kind of reminded like the Omen. You know, like there's someone like from the cult to watch over you and try to get you and your son back. And, you know, now I'm like, okay, I thought there was an age limit to how old you can be in the cult. So was that waived for her? What's going on with that? Did they up it again? You know, it got just kind of like weird because even throughout the movie, it was kind of established that the Ruth's son didn't believe her mom, didn't hear the sound she heard, didn't see the visions, thought it was kind of crazy. So why all of a sudden is he like, oh, I believe this girl Sarah, I'm gonna be the next cult leader. So all that kind of felt like, you know, they wanted a cool reveal, but they didn't really plan it properly or, you know, leave the right breadcrumbs. Right. But now that also, which even with the bad things, there are some cool things. Like I did enjoy the very end that he did become a preacher of the cult. I like the idea this is kind of like a prequel to someone becoming a preacher, but then I think he should have probably been the main character, the son. That would have been interesting.
I agree.
But ultimately, like, the pacing was off. Like, the kills didn't really make sense. There's a lot of plot holes, a lot of missed opportunities, which is kind of why it ended being number 9 on my list.
Very fair. Wow, you remembered a lot more about that movie than I did. Jordan, you got Children of the Corn 666 Isaac's Revenge. Yes. Why is this your number 9 choice?
Well, you know what's interesting is I originally had this as my least favorite. This was originally 11th, but then I started thinking about it, and the 2 positives of this movie I would want to revisit. Those being, 1, Stacy Keach in this movie. He is hilarious. I can't remember what the fuck his character was, but thank you. He's the doctor. And what's important to note is he always has a cigarette, but he always takes like one drag and just puts it out.
And then he gets another cigarette, which is really interesting.
Yes!
He goes through packs, but like he doesn't smoke all of them at all. Like,
and very expensive.
Financially makes no sense. But like he puts it out, and I think in one person's like mashed potatoes or something. Yeah. Now, the only missed opportunity there is whenever Stacy Keach's character dies, he should have had a cigarette in his hand so it could fall out one final time.
Missed opportunity.
That would have been beautiful. So I would like to revisit that. And the second positive is whenever the bad guy becomes, he who walks behind the rose, just becomes sexy and like Freddy Krueger and like ascends into like, you know, the ceiling or whatever and starts acting like God. You know, I thought that was cool. And that would have been a way more interesting movie if they'd done that way earlier, not like the final like 7 minutes or something. So that was a missed opportunity. But for those 7 minutes, it was very entertaining. Other than that, I have a hot take that goes back to the first Children of the Corn movie.
Listen up. This man is the king of hot takes. He's about to say something crazy. What, you don't like horror movies or something? You might say that at a horror convention. It's like, hey, I don't know. I think they're overrated. I'm like, why are you here?
Get him! Do not let him escape!
You put Urban Harvest at number 9. I'd like to see if Tom Cruise would say next to me because it's such a maverick take.
Wow.
Got him. Shots fired.
But I'm just going to say it. I could give a flying fuck about John Franklin as Isaac.
Wow.
That's what I thought Carl was going to say, but you snatched it from him.
At least somebody had the courage to do it.
I did. I think he's annoying in the child performance. I think he's been more annoying as the adult performance. And I think, I don't have any evidence to support this. I'm just going to assume this was a vanity screenwriting project because he's a credited screenwriter. I don't care about his revenge. None of that at all. There is 7% driving in this movie. The movie's just mostly mechanic work and driving. So the leading actress seems to be charismatic, but we just see her be a mechanic. So that's disappointing. Now the other thing, do you guys remember that that disgusting sex scene that was like on the barn ground? They're all dirty.
Unneeded.
Yeah, vaguely remember that.
Unneeded. I don't know if I have it as a positive or a negative. I have to be honest.
It's just a note.
It's just a note. I'm working my way through it.
Sex scene with a question mark.
Yes, no, maybe.
I'm bringing that one up to my therapist after this podcast. But the one final thing I'll say about Isaac's Revenge is this is directed by Kari Skogland.
Isaac's Return, right?
It's Isaac's Return.
Isaac's Return?
Revenge, Return, whatever.
It's fine.
It's Return?
Yeah, it's Return.
It is Return.
Yeah, I promise you it's fine.
You're right. He was revenging in his return.
Yeah.
But this is directed by Kari Skogland, who did The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, The Handmaid's Tale, The Loudest Voice.
Wow.
Big productions. And if I could only ask her House of Cards, if I could only ask her one question, it'd be about this fucking movie. What did she learn from making this that she applied to her other, insanely awesome people who kill for this filmography?
If you're listening, give us a call.
Please, Kari, yeah.
Yeah, she definitely will be sucker punched by that. She would not think that you would be bringing that up.
Right.
Yeah, I probably would be, hushed away by her publicist.
But you would definitely make the dinner conversation at her house.
Yes.
This guy called me. What do you want to talk about?
I forgot I did that one.
Vaughn, okay, this is the one that I'm really excited to hear about.
Boo.
Exactly. Boo this man.
I'll take it.
Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest is Vaughn's number 9. Please explain yourself, sir.
I feel like anybody here should not be surprised because I was vehemently hating it as we were watching it. First off, when I was a kid, my brother, he brought in 2 films. He brought in Billy Madison, I believe, and Children of the Corn 3. I was like 7 years old or some shit. And I'd never seen Billy Madison, and I thought that shit was hilarious. So he was like, all right, now we're going to watch a horror movie. And I've loved horror movies since I was like 4. I watched Urban Harvest, and I was like, this is the biggest pile of dog shit. I hated so many things of it. I wasn't scared. I was never scared. Me as a child, you could not scare 7-year-old Vaughn. Yo, the special effects, dog. Y'all can't defend that. Nobody can defend that. Barbie dolls?
Only at the end.
There's a corn monster at the end when we see Elijah's true form. And it's like, there's a moment in South Park where a guy has a hat on and a mustache. He's like, now you want to see my true form? He takes the hat off and he takes the mustache off. That was better than Eli's true form. I was like, bruh, like, this ain't it, man. He turns into like this giant corn monster. He's grabbing people, he's killing people, but they're all Barbie dolls. Like, and it is obvious that they're Barbie dolls. The only thing that was cool about this was Joshua. He was cool. That actor was pretty cool. Is
that the brother?
Yeah, the brother. I thought he was fine. The dad, I'm gonna say it. He was giving me pedophile vibes. I'm like, you have this weird fascination and attachment to this little boy. And I don't know, like the scenes where like the dad's having this Lex Luthor like conversation with other businessmen about fucking corn. I'm like, dog, have you lost it? Like,
What is all this shit about the corn?
he's like, no, but just try the corn. If someone came to me in a business suit and was like, yo, eat this corn, I'm like, yo, get away from me. I'm gonna kick you in the balls. The kills are corny. You know what it is? It is aggressively the corniest one because it's the least self-aware. A lot of the other Children of the Corn movies, they're like, we know what the fuck it is. We're Children of the Corn 72. Okay, we know we're not getting any Oscars. This one swore it was like, yo, like, look at the trailer, like, it's the scariest Children of the Corn movie of all time. And then you watch it, and I'm like, no, like, I'm looking at the trailer right now. The mom opens up the suitcase, there's bugs in it. Ah! When he licks his mom's ear, come on, man.
I don't even remember that part.
I'll never forget that. And there's so much mouth stuff. I hate mouth stuff.
I figured the mouth stuff would be one of the reasons why it's bumped down so low.
When the dad's vomiting soil into her mouth.
Yeah.
And then she has to throw up some more. You know what was cool? The priest. The priest was cool. I was hating on Joshua in a good way. I was like, yo, he got with that Spanish girl. And I was like, all right, that's cool. That's what's up. They actually had Josh get cool points. Yeah. Their dynamic was pretty cool. I thought the priest I think that was probably the best utilization of a priest in any of the Children of the Corn movies off the top of my head, which I was like, yo, why don't they have that? Why don't they have a priest saying like, what the fuck are you kids doing? Well, not saying that. What the heck are you kids doing?
That's a good idea, actually. Have more of you're a cult.
Yes.
And having
you would have a priest, yeah.
That'd be good. I'm with you on that.
I didn't think that Eli was a good cult leader. I thought he was overacting. Or he was underacting. He would just do the whole thing like, I'm just going to try and be cute and I'm going to smile sometimes when I'm saying something evil. I'm like, yo, you're just the sassy preacher. Like, you ain't scary. You feel like you're going to snitch on me, if anything. Like, I'm going to see you in HR. Like, I tried to follow we love you here. We're a family. That's who Eli is. He's that boss. Of all the preachers, he's the one that swears like, hey, like, we're all a family. You can tell me anything. And he's the one that snitches on you. So that's... Dog, Barbie dolls.
I actually did not mind him as a preacher. Not my favorite, but definitely not the worst.
The coolest bit, I will admit, I did like that the Bible, his Bible, that was like, it felt kind of like a video game. It was kind of like, damn, how do you defeat the monster? And it's like, oh, you got to hit the Bible. And I was like, that was actually, I think that was a very underrated like revelation because it was hiding in plain sight.
But they had to drive to Nebraska to get it and then drive back to Chicago.
Welcome to Nebraska.
You're talking about Hannah driving around somewhere. No, she needs to get in the car with Joshua. He's like, I'll get you there and back in 10 minutes. Like,
exactly, right.
Josh knows all the routes.
He knows all the shortcuts.
Exactly. And something else that was cool was that even though they were like, we're taking it out of Nebraska and we're putting it in the hood, it never felt bad. It never felt like, it felt kind of not earned, but like they did it in a way like that. I had no pushback on it. The only thing that was kind of weird was I was like, where do they live? They live next door to like the love interest and the best friend, but they also live near the warehouse, but they also live near the dentist office, but they also live near the zoo, but they're also underneath where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created. So I'm like, where are y'all? Like,
the geography makes no sense.
Exactly.
It's super duper confusing. Yeah.
But those were the good points. Everything else, I was like, I'll put my dick on this forehead of this movie. I hate this movie.
That's
Call
a very
me
honest-
Urban Harvest.
But you forgot a positive. That female.
I know I said that. Remember
you
I
did?
said I was
Okay.
hating on Josh in a good way about it because he got with the girl.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was like, I remember as a kid, I was like, oh my God, she is beautiful. And we watched
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
I was like, she's still beautiful.
He was gooning during the screen.
He absolutely was. I thought you were talking about a different girl that's in that one.
Oh, Miss Theron?
That's right. Yeah, very early role.
Jordan, don't bring it up to her. She'll beat the shit out of you with a corn on the cob.
Again, it's the only question I have really about her illustrious career.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right? All right, so Vaughn, now that he explained his horrible ranking of number 9 of part 3 to us, I got Revelation as my number 9. This one I didn't write a whole lot of notes on either. I wrote apartment building surrounded by corn? Question mark, exclamation
That was
mark.
the pitch.
Exclamation point.
That's
I
what
like
even
that.
the person said, question mark and everything.
It's going to be a building, and it's going to be close to a cornfield, and it doesn't make any sense.
And then
really.
someone said, here's $1 million.
Yeah, and then they ended up making it, and here we are. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense. This whole apartment building close to this cornfield, it just, the geography of that just made zero sense to me whatsoever. I will give points, though, for Michael Ironside, which I think Jordan brought up earlier, Carl brought up. He elevates the film. It's nice that we actually have a recognizable actor in there, even if he doesn't have a whole lot to do, unfortunately. This one I found very forgettable as well. This has no rewatch value, in my opinion. I would definitely not go back and see it again unless I was forced to at possibly gunpoint or knife point. They're so interchangeable, these last ones. I just feel like I get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 all confused with each other. This is one where we don't really have a leader in this one. It's just a bunch of kids roaming around this apartment building looking like they're straight out of a Are You Afraid of the Dark episode.
I say Goosebumps, even worse.
Goosebumps.
I fucks with Are You Afraid of the Dark, but they did have a leader. It was Abel, but he's not memorable.
And he's barely in it, I feel like, and they don't emphasize it enough. So for the setting itself, this whole weird apartment building, this cornfield, and then for the lack of a leader, for the lack of a memorable film whatsoever, I got to put Children of the Corn Revelation as my number 9. And with that, I'm putting Revelations to bed and behind me for once and for all. So I never have to think
Did you
about
just
it
break
or
up
talk
with the
about
film?
it. I did. We're done. It's not you, it's me. You know?
Don't call me, I'll call you.
That's right.
No, I think Jeremy said, no, it's not me, it's you.
It's you. It's you. It's
Revelation
all you.
sending you a 3 a.m. you up text.
All right, so that leads us to our number 8. We're starting to get to the nitty gritty here.
Yeah.
We're going down to our number 8 choice, guys.
Can I say something that happened to me earlier today? I'm not making this up. I was walking in the Vaughn's parking lot and I walked by this car. They had a Children of the Corn bumper sticker.
Get the fuck out of
I
here.
swear to
You're
fucking
lying.
God.
Holy shit.
I want to take a picture, but the lady was inside her car and I freaked out, so I walked away. But the sticker was the iconic poster, and it said Children of the Elote.
Get the fuck out of here.
Swear to God. I'm getting it
Wow.
after this podcast.
Wow.
I'm ready when y'all are. If there was one for us to be closest to maybe agreeing on, I'm going to say it's this one or the next one. It has to be.
Number 8 on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Behold.
Ooh,
Nice.
very nice.
Carl messed it up.
Okay. Look at that. We did it. Look at that. So we got Vaughn, me, and Jordan all having Children of the Corn 2009 as our number 8. Carl's number 8 is Genesis.
We were so close.
Wow. All of you.
I know.
So
Wow.
close.
We could have been there. We could have. You don't want to change your ranking, Carl?
Not even a little bit.
That's okay. I respect it. All right. So, Carl, I need to hear some good rationale on exactly why you think Genesis belongs at number 8.
So we'll preface this with my 8th favorite Children of the Corn movie,
When you put it that way.
Genesis. I understand. There's only one child. There's really no cornfield. But I didn't hate the movie. I think I was willing to let the end go by just because it was one of the more engaging and interesting Children of the Corn movies in this kind of bottom tier. Was like Havon mentioned, felt kind of like a boiling plate kind of horror. And like Havon mentioned with the whole like did they not, the sex scene with the male and her and everything. It was just like I didn't look at my phone at all the first half of the movie. I was like interested in where this was going. Now it did fall off the second half, but for the most part, like it did have my attention, which is why it's higher than the other ones. So the other ones I was like kind of, what are we doing? Where are we going? I, like Havon, did not like the policeman falling out of the sky at the end. It was like an awkward comedic tone after like
Blasphemy.
a movie that, I mean, the movie did struggle tonally for a lot of the second half. Like Havon stated, also the reveal of the child's supernatural powers when like it kills, I don't know if it was his mother or just the Ukrainian wife, but I'm like, where was that the whole movie? It did that, then it created the accident that kills Tim on their getaway and forces Allie to come back with the parcel driver. Like, you know, where's it the whole time? Some of like the plot points were kind of like, oh, like you have to have this happen. Like the preacher warns them, don't go anywhere you're not invited. So then, of course, Allie goes to the outhouse at night and then wanders to the makeshift church. And I'm like, okay, so that was fun. You know, just kind of like things like that where I was just like, you know, it had its issues, but I couldn't get over, like, I was invested the first half of the film with these characters. And a lot of these movies did not have main characters or even supportive characters that was that invested in what was going to happen. I did feel like this also, like I think Jeremy had mentioned for some of the ones, but it did feel like a standalone feature that they're kind of like, oh, let's just make this to the corn movie, add a few little things here and there. I didn't hate the desert farmhouse location. I'm not a big fan of the urban locations they tried, but the desert, I felt like it was a different kind of isolation that you felt. And I care a lot about opening sequences also, especially for horror movies, and I did like the opening sequence. I'm not sure, but I think the soldier returning home to Gatlin and the whole town was destroyed. There was you seeing the massacre, everybody being killed. I think that was supposed to be Drago's character, and then he leaves.
That's how I interpret it. Yeah.
So I was like, so that opening hooked me. The first half with the characters, the tension, the awkwardness. I do agree. I can't defend the climax. I can't defend the second half of the film, but I liked the beginning enough that it was my 8th favorite.
Okay, fair enough. Good rationales. All right, so the other 3 movies we're talking about, me, Jordan, and Havon all share. So, Jordan, what is your reasons why you chose Children of the Corn 2009 as your number 8?
Well, we have to address it immediately. Your ability to tolerate this movie is how much you can tolerate the performance of the actress who plays the wife character, who I will say right at the bat, very easy on the eyes. Very beautiful woman. But her characters were in such a way where she's constantly yelling at her husband, who is like a Vietnam War veteran, question mark? And like they'll make up and they're like, oh, it's fine. And then she'll start yelling at him again. She'll just say mean, horrible things. So there's that, but also the way she's dressed does not seem era appropriate. She looks like she's about to go out to the club today. And she like has like a comical amount of bracelets that if you watch the movie, she's like gesticulating, moving her arms. It looks like she's
Jordan's trying to go with her to the club.
I am.
So you guys know.
I would too.
Where are you? Nebraska.
Man.
I guess I'm going alone. She's screaming in the back.
But yeah, her bracelets are like falling off, and it's so distracting. So, the movie spends a lot of time dealing with them. By the time you get to the town, they're like arguing, like he wants to investigate, and she's like, "This is an abandoned town," but like he just got there. There's no evidence to support, her claims. It feels like the screenwriter is trying to get that across, but not very, authentically. And so then you get to see the kids, and the kids are wildly miscast. This is by far the least intimidating cult leader actor. The kid's very adorable, and he doesn't say any of his lines with like authority, or he doesn't gesticulate with any confidence. Like there's that one time where he's like talking to his followers, and he's just kind of like comically moving his hands around.
Yeah.
And like he throws a knife like from a street on top of a roof, and just magically just like boop, connects,
He's good. The kid's got aim.
The kid's got aim. The character's got aim, but the way the actor does it, it's just like a nah, and just gently throws it, and he's like, Phoo! So that was very distracting. One of the cult kids is like a girl who's just like, that's the problem with these movies is like sometimes they cast the Amish kids as like normal looking people. Like, I don't believe that girl would be caught up in this cult. She looks like she should be at the mall. So I didn't like that. I did like the actor played Malachi. I did like the young kid who is projected to be the next leader to take over the cult. That kid's fucking adorable. We were saying that it looked like he forgot his lines because they're shooting him from behind.
Yeah.
And he's probably like ADRing, but I don't give a fuck. That kid was so cute. He could do whatever. I think that's all my negatives. As far as the positives, I did like the war flashbacks in the corn stalks. I thought that was a creative way to do, war flashbacks. Probably, putting my producer hat on, a budget-friendly way to do it. So that was clever. This movie does have a sex scene, and, that's nice. And what's very funny about it is there are a few kids in the cult, because, like, the fucking kids are watching this, ritualistic sex scene take place in a church. And a few of the kids like hopping up and down because they're like excited to see it, which is messed up, but it's hilarious.
It's a creepy scene.
It's a creepy scene. It's genuinely eerie. I will say this. It's not as good as the original, but it does some interesting things that I think makes it rewatchable slightly. So,
Vaughn, do you agree with Jordan's assessment on this?
Not really. Like I do agree with him. Like, I think we both didn't like the burger. We both got food poisoning, but we have different symptoms. Like, you're vomiting, I'm shitting everywhere, So as far as my rectal bleeding goes from this film it's the fact that obviously people here, they know I'm big on the preachers. And this kid, like you said, first of all, I don't know why he decided to stop by Pharrell Williams' house and grab his hat. And then decide to start preaching. I think I know what the director was going for. He wanted that height disparity really bad between Isaac and Malachi. But I feel like that's where it stops. Like, it is interesting to see this little boy, bossing this grown-ass man around. But I felt like the Malachi, he didn't seem menacing. It was like, oh, you're only menacing because you're the tallest motherfucker out here.
Right.
You don't seem like you're really even down for the cause. You feel like you kind of almost disagree. And I was like, I didn't really like where that direction was going. Like, and there's a lot of conversations that they have that I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I think this director did not have experience directing kids, or maybe he was just like, oh fuck, we had to do the best we could. But like I was telling them, like I said, I was like, yo, you notice they keep doing these reverse angles. I was like, I think it's because these kids were forgetting their lines or they weren't saying it believably. He's like, all right, fuck it, we'll do ADR. I did not like the Isaac. Isaac is not supposed to be adorable. Malachi's not supposed to be likable. I'm like, these are supposed to be like, these kids are problems. Yeah, he's doing the weird hand movements on the thing. The Isaac, I think he did a gang sign at one time, but it was the wrong one, and the rest of the kids were confused. I get what they were trying to go for. Like, the kids are so young, but they're killing people. But I'm like, you need to have actors that are like they get the assignment. I think there's a scene where a kid falls, like dead serious, and they just let it rock.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the actress and the actor go, I get why y'all don't fuck with it, but it is book accurate because Stephen King, he doesn't like couples or he doesn't like marriage. I don't know which one. Or he doesn't like his wife. Or he didn't like his wife.
Happiness.
Yeah.
He doesn't like happiness.
Yeah, maybe and so he has these fighting couples, and the couple in the book, in the short story, they are unlikable and they are arguing. Like, he even says, like, he low-key hopes that she's dead when she stops screaming in the story at some point. I believe I'm not making that up. I will say, though, even though she didn't annoy me, I didn't feel anything for them. I felt nothing. And I feel like that's the biggest crime of this film, is that, like, it doesn't justify its existence. And I don't feel anything the entire time. The only thing I was like, oh, I like the way the town looks. I didn't, again, also the flashbacks, they didn't do anything wrong, but I didn't feel anything. Like, this one, I felt the most hollow. The ending, I do disagree as far as her outfits. I like that she clearly looks like she doesn't belong. I just would have changed her heels, because Jordan does have a point. She does look like she's going to, like, the club right after. The sex scene, I think that is a proper sex scene as far as, like, cults, because the kids are all acting different. Some kids are just standing there. Some kids are confused. Some kids are like, kind of like, yeah, like, let's do it. Some kids are like, you can tell, like, or not tell, like, maybe like they're like, I want to do that one day, but like not for the reasons of the religion. And then you got Isaac, just because he just located his dick. He doesn't feel anything. He's just staring, adjusting his Pharrell hat. So This one I just felt nothing for. They didn't do too many things wrong, but they didn't do a lot of things right. And it doesn't, like y'all had the budget and y'all had the means, but like I don't know. It just feels empty.
I agree with a lot of those points too. I did like the desolation look of the town, though. I did feel like it looked really good. Going to the lead actress, which seems to be one of the main issues that we had here. The look, she definitely is not dressed up, period, to the 70s. Like the whole bracelets, it's just very distracting. Kind of takes you out the movie a little bit.
Oh, it's supposed to be the 70s.
I think it's supposed to be the 70s.
Oh,
60s,
I take
70s,
my thing
something
back.
like that.
I thought it was supposed to be modern day. That was my
No
bad.
way.
I thought that because of the way she was dressed. So y'all got that point then.
It was supposed to be in the past, right?
No. Y'all right. That makes sense because
Okay.
his PTSD.
I want to make
Oh
sure
my
I wasn't
God.
the only one.
No,
that was-
then y'all are right. I take back my defense of her outfit.
She is nice to look at. So that is the saving grace that you have. Every time she is on screen, you don't necessarily not like her, but the relationship between her and the husband, I understand that in the short story that they didn't get along, but I just didn't have any idea why they were together in the first place. But I just didn't really feel any chemistry between them. And yeah, like they're looking around at the town forever. She wants to do this. He wants to go there. It just kind of meanders for a while until we finally get the kids into the picture. The Vietnam flashback thing. Jordan, I know you said you liked that a little bit.
I liked it. I admired it.
They at least tried something different. I didn't feel like it worked for me, though. To me, it felt a little left field, and I just didn't really understand why he would be having that flashback in that moment, or at least they would show it in that way. It just felt kind of corny. Yeah.
Left field,
Left field, corny. I'm throwing all the little things in here.
I'm out. I'm over it.
We're over. We're done. Points for the creepy sex scene, though. I did like that. That was probably one of the standout scenes from the whole film. And I think I will agree with Vaughn. One of the things that sells it the best is the kids' reactions. Some of them are laughing. Some of them are just watching. So it feels a little bit more grounded. And it's just overall creepy. You know, they're in this church and you got these older kids having sex and they're all surrounded by these young kids and they're laughing. It's just, it's a very creepy moment for a movie that's supposed to be scary and creepy. It finally delivered in that scene, I feel like. And I got to give it points for the bleak ending, too. At least it stayed a little bit truer to the short story where we got both of the lead actors dead in the end, which I respect them going for that. Going back to Letterboxd, I found a couple really fun reviews on there as well.
These are fun.
This one's from Zara Gwen. 1-star review, Children of the Corn. Probably the most annoying female character ever put to film. Very, very rough assessment of our lead character in that one. This one is from Paolo.
Oh my God.
1.5-star review. It's never going to stop, isn't it?
Read that again.
One more time. This one's from Christmas Tree Paolo. Christmas Tree, 1.5-star review. It's never going to stop, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Wow. Couldn't have said it better. This one is from Helen_S, 1.5-star review. Whoever cast that boy as Isaac needs to be smacked every day for a year.
Good Lord.
So at least somebody else agreed with us. And lastly, we got Cropsy, who said, remember how likable Linda Hamilton was in the original? Here we have one of the most annoying, despicable female leads in any horror movie. The character Vicky fucking sucked. The male lead sucked less. Beyond that, the movie also sucked. The original wasn't all that great, so here we had a legit chance to have a remake outdo it. Nope. This is a sad movie that ends on a whimper.
That is actually, through all that is a fair point. They had all the tools to win. They really did.
And it's not like you had a classic original film.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like, oh, there's no way that we could live up to the hype or expectations.
Yeah.
You had a lot of room for improvement there. The bar wasn't super duper high, and they could have pulled something off very fun, but
makes you respect TCM's remake even more. Because they're just like, we had to fight and we didn't win, but we put up a pretty good fight. This one was like, dog, you had all the means to win.
As far as horror remakes go, this is definitely bottom of the barrel of that.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a true remake, I would say, because there is enough different stuff about it. I mean, it's period. We have a different ending. We have, the Vietnam flashback, different stuff like that. So I hesitate to call it a legit remake, but it's close enough.
It is weird because you would think that a Children of the Corn remake, this is the first remake, there's been multiple, 2009, you would think that this could be released to theaters. You think this would be a Blumhouse property. But the way they treat this is just like some sci-fi picture.
Straight to fucking streaming cable TV movie, yeah.
I don't even remember it being released.
Yeah,
No.
it went to sci-fi.
I think the 2021 got a theatrical release, though, didn't it? Or at least a very, very short one.
A limited.
Very limited.
Very limited because I don't know if it was because of the pandemic or
Yeah.
because they
Didn't believe in the
distribution
movie.
was like, yeah, they're like, well, we know what this is.
We're not going to waste our time. And that's all I have to say about Children of the Corn 2009. So that brings us to our number 7. 1, 2, 3.
Behold.
Ooh, all over the place. Carl with a hot take on this one too.
Nice. My boy's got me in his own way.
I thought I ranked it low. And then Havon shut up and was like, I hate this movie.
I blame it on the mouse stuff. Like, let me ask you this, Havon. If it wasn't for the mouse stuff, would you rank 3 higher?
That's a little fair. I think it probably would have been 1 point high. I think y'all are underestimating how much I hated that climax. Josh helps the movie a lot, but he can't.
Josh is the brother, the older.
He's the older brother.
So just so everybody knows, number 7, Carl, is Urban Harvest. That's Children of the Corn, number 3. Jordan has Genesis. Wow, a little high up on the list there. Wasn't expecting that. And then Vaughn has the reboot, the 2020 version of it. And mine is Children of the Corn 6, Isaac's Revenge, Return, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He's back.
But at what cost?
At what cost is the real question.
His revenge, his return, his refund, whatever the other movie's called.
I would have loved a refund for that, but we didn't pay for it, so that's okay. So, Children of the Corn, Urban Harvest. Wow, Carl, number 7. Explain yourself.
What the hell's going on here?
So to start, I thought it had a good opening sequence. I liked how it moved. I'm not sure if this would be a direct like from 2 to 3, but I did kind of like the opening sequence, the deaths, then them being adopted. And I understand the ambitious attempt to move this thing to an urban area for something new. But to me, that's just when you do that, that's when these movies lose their charm. Like it's, Children of the Corn. You should be in the Midwest cornfield. When you're not, it just appreciate the attempt, but falls flat for me. And like, even though Eli isn't one of my favorite preachers, he was effective. I did enjoy watching him grow a cult. Like that was interesting because usually we meet these characters as already a cult, they're already leading them. So it showed kind of a newer light on the preacher. So I felt that was interesting. And I do think he has the most scriptures, maybe. Like he does a lot of scripture reads in this, which I think is what helps when the preachers are definitely more like in tune with that kind of stuff. So I did like that. And the sexual undertones, which like Havon mentioned, like with the tongue with it or licking his foster mom or stepmom's face, like that added like another kind of angle, kind of fun angle to the character. So I think that kind of worked. Now, good and bad were the practical effects. Like the foster father's death was pretty good. The corn stalks impaling victims was good. The priest, I think it was, in the church, like that was pretty cool. But then I think they got way too ambitious at the end. Like the climax with the creature, with the Barbie dolls, that's where you lost me. And like for me, I really, for horror movies especially, I put a lot into the opening, the hook, and then the end. To me, if you can kind of meddle around a little bit, have some pacing in the middle, I understand. But if you have a strong beginning, a strong hook, and then a strong climax with a strong ending, like it's going to be a pretty decent horror film at best. And I just felt like it was just like one of the worst climaxes. And there were some climaxes where they didn't do enough. This one, I was like, yo, you guys did way too much. Like, you guys are just like, we don't have any more money. We're going to start doing crazy stuff. And you know what? Whatever. So, and like I said, I thought I was going to be the lowest to rank this because as I was reading about these movies, a lot of people like the campiness. They like the urban environment. They find this movie to be one of the stronger installments of the franchise. So I thought at 7, I was going to be the worst, but Havon
He forgot I was coming.
Oh, and one other thing I didn't like was the whole foster father, the stock market, the business meetings. I think Eli was manipulating the stock market for him at one point and then like, oh yeah, this is great corn. We're gonna ship it all over the place, and all this crazy stuff where you kind of even have like a cliffhanger ending where they're like shipping the corn around the world, and then just was never mentioned ever again.
Very similar to Hellraiser 3's ending. I think I liked Hellraiser 3's cliffhanger ending more. And I think they were done by the same production company or the same. Yes, there was. Even if we watch Hellraiser 3 like right now, you'd see the similarities like in kind of how it's going.
The fact that they just kind of wrote off and never mentioned it again, like they kind of realized that was kind of a bad cliffhanger, and we're just gonna forget about it and just go to 4. But yeah, so ultimately, like I wanted to like it more when we watched it because I hadn't watched this movie in a while before we started to binge them all. But it lacked a clear tone, a clear voice for the films. But really, it was the nail in the coffin was the terrible practical effects at the end.
Can I ask you a question? How did you feel about the lead, about Joshua?
It was good.
Yeah.
I like.
He's a very underrated hero.
It was a good dynamic because you meet them together in the opening sequence. They're sharing the bed, and then you're watching him kind of become his own person. And then you see his brother who's like, I'm going to take over Chicago.
And it's the stock market and corn.
And I'm 8 years old.
Exactly. He has a suit in one hand and a ear of corn.
Exactly.
I got plans.
Kid's ambitious, man.
So like I said, ambitious. They tried. I wanted to like it more, but like it was really just the lack of the tone, the lack of the voice, the practical effects at the end really just kind of overshadowed what could have been, I think, a better installment of the franchise.
All right, that leads us to Jordan. Circling back to Genesis, what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy the amount of corn and children in it, or did it not bother you that much?
Well, you know what's funny is because Vaughn, at the very beginning of this whole marathon, he said there's one movie where it has no children, no corn. I was like, blasphemy. Well, fuck that one. That's obviously going to be because that's 2 essentials, right? So we pressed play on this. I already was shaking my head, arms crossed,
Low expectations.
Low expectations. And then it started that with that opening, which is very effective. And it had that J-horror influence. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And there was this feeling of like, well, anything can happen now because I was not expecting that. And then it goes into low budget where we had the couple and the car breaks down, wherever the fuck, and they go to Billy Drago and his sexy wife or whatever. And then it gets, this movie cracked screenwriting 101. If you're an aspiring filmmaker and you're looking at your script and you're like, it's not working, just add an implication that 2 of the characters are fucking, but don't address it. Because I was engaged.
I think we all were, except for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well, I was interested in knowing what was going
Not
on. I
enough.
wasn't maybe as interested as everybody else was, but at least it was like something that's like, oh, I wonder what's going on here.
We were all like the snacking kind of stuff, the drink kind of stuff. We were leaning in. We were invested. And the way it was depicted. So the husband and then the sexy wife go into the back because he has to make a phone call or whatever. She like shows her cleavage or whatever, right? Cuts back to the wife and Billy Drago. All of a sudden you see something knock off the wall, implying that they're having sex. Spielberg himself could not have directed it any better. I was fucking hooked. The suspense. I didn't give a fuck about children. I didn't give a fuck about corn. I was like, are they fucking or not? And so like the next 30 minutes, I was engaged. And honestly, they could have dragged it out the whole fucking movie and I would have been there. Then they answer it, and the answer was satisfying. Then we had the rest of the movie, which, not as strong. But I will say this for the movie, the other movies where the highs and maybe higher, whatever, my mind would drift. But this, to have consecutive moments of focus for a Children of the Corn movie, the 9th one or whatever the fuck it was, I was very impressed. Now, I do think the cop going up in the sky and the reveal at the end was cool.
Yes.
That was awesome. And then there's another J-horror moment at the end, too. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I have it in my notes.
Okay.
So I think that's awesome that they leaned into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the child's flicking. Like, he has that toy car, and our heroes are trying to escape on the highway, and he's, like, flicking the cars, and the cars on the highway are flicking off. I thought that was cool. It's kind of clumsily filmed, but I love the idea. And for the budget, it looked fine.
I think they used footage from another movie in that as well, but it also feels like it felt it's like an action piece almost too in a Children of the Corn movie.
It is, and I was not expecting that. So even though there's not as much corn as I'd like, not as much children as I'd like, I think I admire the fuck out of this movie, and I would watch it again. Honestly, I really would.
I do agree, like you said, for Training 101, either have a murder or sex and leave it open-ended and people can be interested. And then also I do agree, I think that scene with the cars being flipped over and stuff, it was cool, but I think what the problem was is there was no lead up, no breadcrumbs, no build up to the powers this kid has. Like if he was like locked in a basement in a straitjacket in like a cube or something and he gets out and that's just okay. That's cool, but there was just no real build up.
I 100% agree.
But
It's
the
a
scene was
similar
cool.
problem with Isaac's return, is that they could have leaned into the powers more. This movie, for having godlike powers to their characters, they don't use it a whole lot, probably for budgetary reasons. But no, I agree with you, Carl. If they had used that child more, the movie could have been way,
So that brings us to Vaughn, Magic Wand.
So I have the reboot as my number 7. I think you come across this in certain films where you realize, oh, this is a problem with the script, not the performance. I think this little girl, I think Eden in the reboot, I think she is indicative of that because everything that they had her do, she nailed. I think the direction was inconsistent because sometimes, someone else mentioned, I forget who it was, but they had mentioned they give her these girl boss speeches, and I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. But then there's scenes where she is just being confident, and she's just saying this is what it is. I like that version of it. Then there were scenes where she's like, all right, I got one-liners now. Now I'm pissed off, and I'm like, we're kind of on the same trajectory. Why are you having all these? Why are you being all erratic? You can play. I don't drink. So this is probably very dangerous, what I'm about to say. But you people, anybody within the sound of my voice, you can play a drinking game of how many times the lead actress looks confused or scared.
Oh, yeah.
You will probably die by the end of the
Alcohol
first act.
poisoning.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I didn't mind her look, but I think they dropped the ball as far as there's no reason for Eden to respect her. And I'm like, they could have had some type of dynamic beforehand, before this thing. Right. It could have been you were my babysitter. You can keep it simple. Right. You're my tutor. That would have been great.
But she just two different kids in a town, and we don't know.
And so they have these scenes where they're walking around and they're looking at what Eden's up to, and the girl's confused. And there's so many scenes where the lead actress says what are you doing? Or she gives, this is as a writer, this is a pet peeve of mine. She gives her the feeding lines where it's I'm going to ask you a question or say something that's very unnatural, but I just need to say it so that you can say something cool. And it's just what's happening here? Just so Eden can be Armageddon and smile and wink into the camera, nudge the cameraman.
Yep.
It happened too many times. I didn't care about the main girls, her friends. I didn't even really care about her. She's kind of just walking around complaining. I
forgot she had friends.
Yeah, they don't
had the
even
guy
talk.
with the hoodie on, the kind of cute guy.
They did have cojones, though. They killed him first.
They did.
Yeah, they did. And I was like, I thought he was definitely going to make it to the end.
Same.
I didn't fuck with the corn monster. It looked like one of those monsters from Resident Evil, but not one of the main ones. The ones you just kill with the handgun. I was like, yo, Swamp Thing's in this. I didn't know that. Why didn't y'all tell me sooner? The climax, like Jordan said, I was like, this is dookie. This is how you stab the corn monster and then you set fire to thing, and it makes Eden look so dumb. And she was so cool up until this part. And then they're like, okay, no, we'll satisfy you. We'll have her die at the end for this jump scare. I'm like, no, have Eden outsmart her. I think He Who Walks, I think he should have appealed to Eden in a very different way, because it just kind of felt like it was hey, what's up? You should join the dark side. And Eden's like, fuck it, why not? Barney's off. It's been canceled. I have nothing better to do. And you don't really see her do anything but cause anarchy. And I think that was, and Jordan mentioned, she ain't saying shit. I don't think, if I was one of the cult kids, I would be like, yo, so are you going to say anything from the scripture? She's like, the scripture? I'm just running around doing shit.
Very little to do with being a leader preacher kid.
Exactly. So but it had the best production value, and I felt like they had explosions, they had fires, and I'm like,
they did.
And it's again, the remake, y'all had all the tools to win, and y'all just
very low bar. Yeah.
Butterfingers, you shit the bed. All those euphemisms, well, shitting the bed, it's not really a euphemism, but all those phrases, all those idioms for yo, you fucked up. And I wanted this to be better. The character, the actress, Kate Moyer, or you deserved better. My name is Havon Baraka. You deserve better. I wish you had been one of my movies, and I would be like, yo, I'm going to have you fuck some shit up the proper way.
Very good. So my number 7, Children of the Corn 6, Isaac's Return, Revenge. Points for Stacy Keach. Also points for Nancy Allen, who's in the film, who plays the mom of the lead character. She does her thing, even though overall I think it's a very forgettable entry. I don't know who mentioned it, but yeah, I didn't really care about Isaac returning that much either. I wasn't super enamored by him or his character from the first one, and I didn't feel like him returning really brought a whole lot to it. It's also a very confusing and nonsensical plot that I got very confused. The lady's driving around, and then she's trying to figure things out, and then she's driving around more, and somebody crashes into her. Pacing, very bad as well. For those reasons, I put Children of the Corn, number 6, Isaac's Return, as my number 7. And a little quote from Letterboxd that we got here for number 6. This one's from Zara Gwen, half-star review. These movies are actual torture. Actual torture.
Are you going to waterboard us? No, we're watching Children of the Corn.
Just kill me now. Hand me the gun. I'll do it myself. I can't stand being in this world with these movies anymore.
Now listen to me. There's something very wrong here.
All right, count of 3. Uno, dos, tres.
Behold.
Wait, what do you have? Damn it.
So Carl has for his number 6, Final Sacrifice, which in case you didn't know is part 2.
Wild.
That's very wild.
That's very
Looking
wild.
forward to hearing this. Me and Vaughn share number 6, which is Fields of Terror. Dun-dun-dun. And Jordan, he's got the 1984 original
That's crazy.
Children of the Corn as his number 6.
Why?
Wow.
You're going to get us jumped one day at a hard con.
Bring him the blood of the Outlander!
Because you're going to say something like, yo, you went too far. They're after us now.
I'm ready. That's why I go to Planet Fitness, baby. I'm ready.
We're outing them. All right, Carl. So why did you put number 2 as your number 6? It's widely considered one of the better ones.
Yep, not for me.
Fair enough.
Just not for me. I mean, first, they started number 2 with the Final Sacrifice. Like, I thought Friday the 13th was kind of close with 4, but they were like, yeah, there's no franchise picture here. Smash cut to 11 films. Starts off great. Enjoyed the opening sequence. I enjoyed how they tied the first film into this one. Me personally, I always prefer when franchises are as canon as possible. So I like that they weren't doing, at least at this point, like 3 different timelines like Halloween does.
I don't think that was necessary to drop that Halloween does that. No, just for the record.
Little dig at Vaughn there.
But, so this was good. I like the premise. The children who survived the cult are now being moved to another town. They're being adopted by another town. It was able to kind of, pick up, because in the first one, you do miss the interaction between the original townspeople and the kids, because you just see the kids kill them all, and you flash forward a few years later. So you get to kind of get an idea on these kids versus a town. That was cool. After that, for a horror film, one of the things you're in it for is the death scenes. Did not like the death scenes in this one. I hate the woman being crushed by her house so much. Why are you climbing under your house first if it's on hydraulics? Secondly, you see the kids, and instead of trying to get out, you're just screaming at them, and then you scream as the house slowly collapses under you.
It's supposed to be a reference to Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
A bad one. But
Very bad. The whole thing, yeah.
There's that. The storm that killed the main characters, 2, I guess, ex-workers or reporters that was terrible special effects. I'm surprised they let that scene even see the light of day. I should have cut it. But we'll just move on from that. Also, probably one of my mid to least favorite preachers was Micah. I was like, bro.
Fam!
I was like, bro. I was like, you're loud, you're obnoxious. I would have not listened to this guy. Probably would have told him to screw off. And I'll admit, it following, because I do enjoy Isaac a lot. I enjoy Malachi a lot. So I think maybe if they weren't the first movie, maybe I would have liked him more. But I was like, you're just not doing it for me. There's just so many parts of this film that I just did not like. I thought the addition of the Native American mythology and the vengeful spirits did not age well. Came off as tacky. The spoiled corn, the dark green toxins, tacky. I think a part that could have been great that wasn't was the father-son dynamic. I really think you could have had a good parallel here. John's reporting on the cult, and Danny has a love interest, and he's kind of being brought into the cult. Interesting, but didn't do it well enough. I would not want to watch this movie again. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I don't want to. Wouldn't be my idea. And to end it, I mean, I'm glad this wasn't the final sacrifice because there are a lot better movies after this one.
So if I invite you over to watch The Final Sacrifice, would
a
you
good question.
watch it?
For you, I wouldn't say no.
Yay!
But I wouldn't invite you over to watch it.
Next we got Havon. Fields of Terror. We share this one.
Yes.
Why do you think it's number 6?
So I feel like these might be, arguably, off the top of my head, these might be the worst protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
They're bad 90s. I don't know if it's like the acting. I don't know, but like they were kind of rough. The only one that I thought was pretty cool was the brother. I thought the brother, like, who was like in it and like trying to get out of it, like I was like, that's a cool angle. But like the actress who was playing the sister wasn't really selling what was going on. It felt like kind of like they were just like arguing about what's better, crunchy or creamy peanut butter. And I'm like, this is your brother, like
Creamy peanut butter.
And she said crunchy, and like that's what. And my motherfuckers are dying. Like I don't like the way Ezekiel dressed. I did warm up to him. I will say the reason why it's higher than a lot of the other ones, he got shit done. Like he had powers. And he's like, I don't got to use these all the time. He actually had a good team. Like if all the preachers were like, all right, we're all bringing our peoples. Like I'm like Ezekiel would win. Because this is without him even using his powers. He's like, oh, yeah, we're just having like a gang war. Like, oh, I got it. He tripped over his dick at the end. I don't know why he felt the need like, oh, let me just try and tackle her like we're doing Blitz. And she just like turned it into a wrestling match and just threw him in the fire. And I was like, well, I guess we're all going home. And I think that was another bad thing. Is like the climax kind of just like, well, he fucked up. I guess we win. The best part of it, though, this is one of my favorite moments in all the Children of the Corn series. I like that Ezekiel was kind of an elitist. Like nobody can just join. Like, so when Eva Mendes is like, yo, I'm down for the cause. He like looked left and right. This is a real scene. And he looked like the fuck. And he was like, oh yeah, we're not taking new people. She's like, yeah, but there's a sign and shit. Yeah, but that's just a thing we're doing. But it says right here, new members. You know what? We don't want you. Okay. I try to be nice, but I thought that shit was funny. Her turn. This is something that is very bad about the Children of the Corn series. The turns are always bad. Like what do you call it? Like the pledging, like those scenes, like we got to get a new person, the indoctrination, they're always bad. She read one book that nobody even the cult gave her. She just like wandered and she was like, oh, like maybe I should join. And like I said, the cult members were like, we don't really need anybody new. Like, I didn't like how he dressed. It looked too, we're all going to go on an adventure in the power of friendship. And I'm like, no, sit down, Ezekiel. I did like the thing of David Carradine, that he was a decoy. I was like, yo, Ezekiel, like he's got contingency plans. Like, I think though he feels directionless because I'm like, what is your plan? And it feels like he doesn't have one. He's like, I'm just trying to like stay here and just be here with my powers and my decoy and my lethal team. And I'm like, dog, you could take over a fucking state if you were ambitious. He's kind of the anti-Eli. Like Ezekiel, he's like, yo, I'm chilling. Okay, we're watching MASH tomorrow. You should come. Do not bring Eva Mendes.
Don't bring her around. Exactly. Sign up is closed.
Exactly. So he puts in his 9 to 5. He chills on the weekend. He gets it. We have lives.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what are you doing I'm fishing. Well, what do you expect me to do?
Work-life balance.
Exactly.
Amen.
But I think it's like these wandering protagonists and this nonchalant ass antagonist. Like a lot of nothing's happening. So I think that's why Field of Terrors is not really, like, I didn't care when anybody died, and I don't remember anybody's death except Ezekiel's. Well, the brother. Like I said, I did fuck with the brother, but I didn't think the actress was selling it. I thought the brother did. Like, I kind of cared about him, and he felt like, was he supposed to be a double agent?
No, he went there, but then he wanted to escape.
Oh, so that's what I said. Like not like intentional when he went in, but he was kind of like,
yeah, he was trying to get out.
This is all bullshit.
Yeah, he was trying to get out.
Yeah. So I think they could have done something with that, like a lot better.
All right, Jordan, that leads us to you. Which one is yours again? You have
1984.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The original.
Yeah, how could I forget? Why is the original Children of the Corn number 6 for you?
And why is your opinion wrong?
Yes.
No, just kidding.
Guys, this movie is so boring. I debated having the 2009 remake higher than this, but this movie has one thing that movie does not. has Linda Hamilton sing a seductive version of School's Out. And that adds a lot. A lot. I might not rewatch this whole movie again, but I will rewatch that scene at least 50 more times. So I do love Linda Hamilton's presence in this. I also think that they just meander too much. Her and like young Michael Bay are just running around for so long. And it gets boring. At least the 2009 remake, it wasn't good, but at least was interestingly bad. In this one, it's not shot interestingly. I get bored very quick. Again, I've said this before, not a fan of John Franklin's performance as Isaac. I think it's whiny.
Silence, interloper.
I'm Team Malachi, to be honest. I wish Team Malachi would have punted Isaac.
You wrote that down?
I did. That's
you
in my.
Made sure that you knew you needed to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to soupydoopy@letterboxd.com. Shameless plug. For all my more in-depth reviews.
Follow them, folks, for all your hot takes.
That's right. But the other thing I'll mention is I do like that they tried something with the animation on Isaac's death. Like, can you guys answer this for me? Back in the 80s, was that effective or did they think it was cheesy too? Because right now it's...
When the thing consumes him when he's on the cross or whatever?
Yeah, and red animation overtakes
I've
the body.
seen that in other 80s kind of films. So they probably thought like, oh, we're groundbreaking.
Okay,
It was in.
Yeah.
It was in.
It was in? Okay.
Yeah, they did that.
That scene in Chopping Mall. They're like
I fucking love Chopping Mall. Why are there not 11 Chopping Mall movies? I'd fucking watch that.
Fucking good point. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now you're talking some sense.
Absolutely. Only other thing of note about this movie is, and I can't decide if I admire this or I loathe it, is this movie has the most abrupt cut to credits ever. It's like they're just walking away and the credits start and you're like, oh, what's that? The movie's over? That's it? Like, this is just a studio fucking movie. Yeah. This is a studio fucking movie. It released to theaters based on Stephen King's short story. Like, have some goddamn respect and have proper credits. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of cool. You're just like, fuck it. Just send it. We're done.
Cut.
So those are my thoughts.
So my number 6, I share with Havon, Fields of Terror. So a lot of that stuff I got to agree with. So very young Eva Mendes popping up, wanting to be part of the Children of the Corn cult for whatever fucking reason, out of the blue somewhere. And that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
when she dies, I don't know if they even did sacrifices. I think Ezekiel really just didn't want her to join.
He's like, no, guys, we're just gonna get rid of her. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's not that she's too old. It's not anything else like that. I just don't like this girl. She's a little bit too willing to want to join the cult, and we can't have that.
You're fucked up, bro. Look, what we're doing sick, but that's fucked up.
One thing that I did like was the opening. The telekinetic ability of the kid doesn't make sense. Yeah, we have this leader in there who's a very recognizable child actor. But like Vaughn said, the dude doesn't even dress like any of the other leaders. He's dressed just like a normal, regular kid instead of like that whole Amish outfit. It's like we needed to find a place between this and then the Pharrell Williams hat wearing kid that was just full Amish attire. If we could just find a middle ground between this and that, I think that's kind of the sweet spot that you need for the wardrobe for the leader. So a leader being a very important aspect of the Children of the Corn films, I felt like Ezekiel was severely lacking, especially when it came to his believability of being a cult leader. The child minions in this are too old looking to really be in this cult. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I will say that at least this movie has a nice supporting cast. We get to see Fred Williamson popping up as a sheriff in this one. We also have David Carradine with a very fun death too. I think like something pops out of him and he like splits in two. Very kind of left field. I really wasn't expecting it. So I did enjoy that. And we did have Kane Hodder in there. It also felt like a little stunt casting, having him in there. Like, oh, hey, look, we got the Jason in our movie too. So go see it. You're a horror fan, right? Right? The final girl isn't strong or endearing enough to carry this lead role. She's a little bit too mopey. I feel like if we would have made Eva Mendes more the lead character, it would have worked a lot better. The lead character, even on the poster, she's like the fourth one.
Holy shit! I just processed that. Yeah.
Everybody else is bigger and more prominent on the poster than our lead character is, and that just kind of shows how much she's lacking when it comes to leading that role. Bad directing choices, rocking chair, weird Dutch angles throughout this whole thing. It's like some guy was like, how do you shoot a horror movie? Oh, I'll just throw a whole bunch of Dutch angles in it, and that'll be okay. False. No, it looked like shit. It looks and feels much cheaper than all the other films, even the one right before this one, number 4, The Gathering. So you can definitely see a drop-off in quality and production budget from it. Fire baby eyes at the end makes no sense. I'm just reading off my notes, so I don't even really remember. But I think we cut to a baby, and then he's got fire in his eyes.
It's supposed to imply that maybe Ezekiel fucked her real quick.
Right.
It was so random.
And he's the next lead. It's one of those kind of, we're going to give him a little thing at the end just to let him know that we're going to keep on making more of these bad movies.
Yeah, we had like a whole ass fucking debate if Ezekiel had like piped
right.
a kid.
Right,
and
exactly.
I wish that they gave a little more of an answer to that, because I think that would make his character even more interesting if like the brother thought that it was his kid, but it really wasn't, because at the end, his sister adopts the baby from his girlfriend Lucy. So like she would have like a baby that wasn't even her brother's. Like that's interesting if they just made that decision. Yeah, but they didn't.
No, they just wanted to give us that quick little thing at the end showing us that the children of the corn will live on through this little fire eyes baby. So that's my thoughts on part 5, Fields of Terror. So that leads us to our number 5 choice for the best Children of the Corn film.
Oh, we gotta get going.
Tune in to part 2 of our Children of the Corn ranking to find out our top 5 ranking choices of the Children of the Corn films. We'll see you then.
Be right back.